Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to talk to you guys about the new chapter of One Piece, which is on chapter 1171. This chapter right here was not too bad, so if anything else, let's get this started right away. We get to see Gabon talking to Shanks in this backstory and talking about how Harold would have been a calamity if he got out of the castle. And we get to see Shanks and Gabon talking to Jarul, and he ends up saying, "I get chills down my spine when I imagine what would have happened if Loki had not been here today." Shanks remembers his like conversation with like Harold, and then his conversation with his father, saying, "If you have any wish, simply name it, and it will be within your reach. You truly endured a miserable, squalid life until now, my poor child." Of course, Shanks like remembers about his father's words, and then he ends up getting upset, and it looks like he was clutching his left arm in total anger and rage. And then Goblin's like, "Stop! What are you doing? That's a bad habit. You should never resent the circumstances of your birth." And Shanks tells Goblin that Harold was a good guy. What the hell's going on here, dude? And Goblin's like telling Shanks, this isn't your fault. Listen, you are here for a reason. Everyone has a life. Everyone's life has a meaning, has some meaning to it. You just gotta hold on. Loki, who is mourning his father greatly, asks himself, like, is this what happens when you love your country too much? Darn, this sucks. We get to see a conversation with Emu talking to the Gorosei about how Harold was a true monster and that they were killed. It's really ridiculous. And and we have to it that Emu was talking to the girl, saying the girl says like maybe we should have like the Abyss pentagram carved by Herald inspected, but Emu's like no, that's fine. It will only result in the death of another knight. Every covenant comes with a price to be paid, even for Mu. And we get to see like how Emu talks about Harold, how he was really trying to like do whatever he can to help out this people, but yet he was born with the blood of those savages, battle-loving giants. And had we admitted him into the government, flippantly, his very presence might have destroyed the world government itself. You know. Well, Emu therefore tells the Gorosei about tell the Gorosei this: Elbaf should never have known a king of his deposition. Forging a covenant with the cooperative ancient giant like him was an unprecedented opportunity. This disappointing outcome proves that history does not lie. We were always going to be incompatible. Never forget, Albaf is of D, which is a big revelation showing that I guess if you had the D initial, there's no way in hell they're going to listen to you or whatever the situation is. Other than that, we get to see Loki talking with like Jarul, Shanks, and Gaban and the other guards who are present. We have to it that like Loki therefore tells him not to tell him what happened here today. But Jarul was like, "Hey, don't you understand? You'll be blamed for all this." But Loki's like, "Look, I'm gonna figure it out, okay?" And he even says, "If I even became king, do you think? Can you see me actually honoring father's ideals? Hell no. I can only honor this my own way." Loki therefore explains, with this ability, I'll settle the regrets of the old man and his soldiers. And although Jarul was really against this, that facing the world government as it is now, it's not as simple as you think. And we get to see how Loki therefore finishes his story telling Harujin, like, after that, I set out to sea. Harujin, by the time you guys return to the island, everyone has dubbed me Loki the Patricide, and I made no effort to correct that narrative, but it's not like I was crazy enough to brag about killing him either, okay? I just didn't want everything he stood for to be dismissed because of how things turned out. With all that in mind, do you really think I should have told the people everything? And Gaban is therefore telling Harujin he is actually telling the truth, and therefore he even was there. He was there when he was there at that time. Therefore, Loki's like, "Don't you get it? I really didn't want to revive all this filth. It's really freaking irritating." Even Harujin understands why Elder Jarul was always opposed to your execution. I can understand why you chose to keep this secret. Father choosing death in the face of the world government's manipulation. So pretty much the world government has been their enemy the entire time, and I wonder what did they do to their father? But other than that, they have sent more knights to Elbaf and deep ties to Herald. Even right now, they're trying to figure out what to do next. However, we have two Goblins like, hey, I can fill you guys in about the situation, but they go like, no, that won't be necessary. We won't need no further reason to protect our country. Therefore, Harujin therefore decides to unhook Loki and therefore says, for the sake of Albaf, let's make a stand together. We get to see a giant nightmare of like what is it, a Dragor or something like that, and Loki's like, hey, this will be a good warm up whatsoever. So we get to see how Harujin's like, hey, look, we're very sorry for insulting you, Loki. But Harujin's like, hey, but it doesn't undo all the other things you've done. You got it? And then Loki's like, okay, I get it. Just shut up, okay? We get to see, like, Loki's like, oh, I'm so good and I'm free. I'm ready to go into action. We get to see how Gaban tells Chopper, hey, can you take care of me right now? I'm worried about my son right now. We get to see freaking Sanji with Chopper grabbing Gaban saying, hey, yo, let's go help him out. And then Sanji and Chopper flies away with Gaban in tow. But other than that, Loki asks Luffy, hey, what are you still doing here? And Luffy's like, hey, I'm dying to see you fight, how you fight. And therefore Loki's like, okay then, let's show him your real power, Ragnar. And we get to see freaking like we get to see Loki launching a powerful attack called Niflheim, I believe, and the nightmare seems like it's about to be destroyed, and there'll be break next week. So that kind of sucks to see how it ended, but you know what, Oda, take your breaks, man. I know you need your breaks, and if you need as many as you have to, go for it. I need you healthy and good to finish the series, man, because you're doing a hell of a good job so far. Other than that, in simple words without a lot of detail, it's the continuation of Loki's story, and he continues to talk about it, and it ends in this chapter. Of course, Loki on the other hand, and of course Imu on the other hand, having that conversation with the Gorosei, and then when it came to Loki telling everyone not to tell him about what happened here today, but Jarul and Shanks and Gaban understand the situation, decides to follow Loki's wishes, despite maybe not agreeing with it. Then, of course, we go back to present time where Loki explains everything to Harujin, why he did what he did and why it wasn't something that he wanted to talk about or go back on it either. So, we get to see freaking like Harujin unshackles Loki, and Loki is getting ready to go into action. We have to. Luffy stays with Loki to see him fight. Harujin and the others decides to make their way to like do what they gotta do, and then all that. And of course, Harujin does not undo all the other actions he's done, and then funny stuff. Freaking, we get to see Chopper, Sanji, and Gaban flying into the air. Well, Sanji carrying Gaban and Chopper and getting the heck out of there. And we got to see Luffy want to stay with Loki to see how he fights. And then we get to see him using Ragnar, and then boom, attacks the freaking Dragnir, like nightmare skeleton looking like monsters whatsoever. And then the chapter ends with Luffy being very shocked, going like, whoa, dude, what the heck did you do? And then it shows another picture, and then the chapter ends off with the freaking like nightmare getting ready to be destroyed. So yeah, looking forward to the next chapter, but next week will be break, like I said. So yeah, pretty excited and glad that the backstory is over, although it was very nice and interesting and I loved it very much. I can't wait to see that getting animated in the future, which I don't think it will happen until possibly it is next year. That is a big possibility because, ever since now One Piece needs to slow down, which is the changing up the format of releasing how many episodes per year for One Piece right now because to not catch up, which is going to suck, but it is what it is. It can't be helped. At this point, the voice actors deserve their break, along with those who've been working constantly, nonstop, tirelessly to give us One Piece every week. And even though there'll only be a certain number of episodes per year for One Piece, it's better than nothing, So until then, I'll see you guys later. I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out. Bye-bye. Ta-da!